when the world has got you down. And
Alzheimer's sucks. It's an equal opportunity disease that chips away at everything we hold dear. And to date, there's no cure. So until there is, we continue to fight with the most powerful tool in our arsenal, love. This is Love Conquers Alz, a real and really positive podcast that takes a deep dive into everything Alzheimer's, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And now, here are your hosts, Susie Singer-Carter and me, Don Priest.
Hello, everybody. My name is Susie Singer-Carter.
And I'm Don Priest, and this is Love Conquers Alz. Hello, Susan.
Donald, it's almost
Yes.
your birthday.
I know.
It's almost Donald's birthday. It's coming up right around the corner.
But, of course, by the time they hear this, it will probably be next birthday. So
I know.
No, but it's very soon. I'm fine with that. You know, I've been through a few. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm excited because it means that, maybe there'll be a nice dinner involved. Yeah, and I'm not dead. I'm still alive. I've done that part. And so, yeah. And
That's what my mom would say. My mom would say, "Oh, yeah, I'm alive. The alternative sucks."
Exactly. So it's all good. It's all good. And I'm celebrating because I'm not doing... Yeah, I am too. I'm celebrating because I'm not doing this episode from bed like last one.
And that's another celebration. We go for the small things these days.
I can actually stand and sit and walk. All those fun things that we take for granted.
We're talking about backaches, you guys. That's what we're talking about. Talking about back problems, which suck because when you have your back is out, that's it. You cannot do. You don't even realize how much we depend on standing vertically.
And sitting. I couldn't sit. And laying down wasn't a picnic either. So
No, it's not fun.
The mend.
It's not a party.
As they
on
say.
The mend, which is good. Then I don't have to be a caregiver for you anymore.
Exactly. I didn't mind.
Love Conquers Alz.
It was fine. So what's happening? What's going on? What's the word?
So nothing exciting to talk about. I can't.
Wow.
I was about to say something and I was like, I better censor that. I'm not going to say that. I can't. I was going to go for a download bitch section, but I don't think I should.
No.
No. Although people might like it, but no.
That'll be our next. That'll be the other podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Suffice it to say, the entertainment industry, from time to time, is not the most lovable. Let's put it that way.
It's not so much. Yeah.
Sometimes you get a little thing in the back that owie, and you have to pick yourself up and go, "Wow, I didn't expect that to happen." But thank God we have our caregiving community, which is very consistent, to say the least, and actually have their priorities in better order. I'll say that,
For the most
part.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most part. But no, everything's good. I just read a fantastic book that I want to recommend to people called Inflamed, which is written by these two journalists from Northern California who recount in such a dynamic way the fires that occurred a couple of years ago up in Sonoma, California. And there was a whole debacle of these two assisted livings, these high-end assisted livings that just abandoned the residents and left them there. And without, any thought to them, just went and left. And if it weren't for these heroes, these family members that went to go get their own loved one to make sure their loved one was okay, who actually stayed and rescued everybody, it would have been the most incredible, horrible disaster. I mean, anyway, the point is that it's so. It sounds horrible, but it's so. it really will give you hope about of people and their ability to step up when necessary, and it's really it's an exciting book, believe it or not, and yeah, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a caregiver. Get to see the insides, the sort of politics of what goes on in our industry, in terms of the industry of assisted living and long-term care, which is, as we know, not the most how do I say that nicely, Dawn? They're not the most.
It's impossible to say it nicely. No,
they're corrupt for the most part.
Let's say they have sometimes ulterior motives. A lot of ulterior motives.
There's a lot of greed that's entered this industry, and that's why we do No Country for Old People.
On the corporate level, yeah.
And the corporate level. So, that's no shade on the people that work there or the residents or anything, because everybody, except for the people making a lot of money, are victims of the whole bad, broken system. So that's that. But the book will give you a really, besides our documentary, this book will give you in more of a narrative way how things can go awry so quickly. But but on the flip side, how about things that go really good? Because you know how much first of all, I'm excited about our guest today, because who loves dancing more than me?
Let me
Nobody.
see. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
I love dancing so much. Everyone knows that. I do hip hop like twice a week, and I've competed, and I love it. It's my drug. It's my meditation. It's everything to me. And if I can't do that, if I can't get to those classes, I do anything. I'll do salsa, I'll do Zumba, whatever it is. Dancing makes me happy. It is. I'm telling you, even if you can't dance, you should dance, because it's so good for you. It's good for your brain. It's good for your body. It's good for your soul. Sometimes it's better than sex, because you're so connected to everybody in the like. If you're doing a dance and you're all, synchronized, it's such a high, and I love it so much. So, and also music. I mean, especially with Alzheimer's and dementia, it's magic, as I talk about that all the time. So, Dawn,
yes.
Why don't you introduce our incredible, exciting guest, and then we'll get into why I'm so excited.
I would be honored to do that. Kristina Hayes is the creator of Waltz Through Life, a small business bringing dance and music to senior citizens in assisted living and memory care units. For the past 15 years, she has witnessed firsthand the powerful healing benefits movement and music have on seniors living with physical challenges and early advanced memory loss. Kristina believes dancing to music is a shortcut to a person's heart and a miracle medicine for Alzheimer's and dementia. It's a fascinating subject. We can't wait to hear more, so let's not wait anymore and say hello to Kristina Hayes. Hello, Kristina.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming here. We look like Charlie's Angels. We have the blonde, the red, and the silver.
Oh, there you go. I love it.
Nice to
so,
have
Dawn,
you.
I have to ask. You were laid up. Did you hurt your back?
Oh yes. I had we drove back from a conference in San Francisco, and it took us about 10 hours. Got home at 2 a.m. and decided to carry 4 things of luggage up 4 flights of stairs. And the next day, it was the worst I've ever felt in my life. Completely incapacitated.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. I had shoulder surgery a year ago, so. Coming off the pandemic and then having the surgery and healing, I'm finally getting back to the work I do. But if you can't move your arms, it's or I had to heal properly, which was just staying put. But yeah, it's challenging.
It's
something
fun.
we should keep in mind when, as caregivers, we should keep that in mind when the person that you're caring for can't do what we're used to be able to do. Yeah. To have that, to really take that in and say, oh, I get it. I have to maybe adjust the way our expectations of them. So.
Totally. Yeah. Wow. I love what you're doing. I love, Waltzing Through Life. That's your program, right?
Waltz Through Life. Yeah, I had my business started 20 years ago after a divorce, and I was like, oh yeah, I should probably get a job because I'm an actor, and I did that all through my 20s. But I was starting to feel like I don't know, maybe I'm gonna need something else. And the only thing that I had done other than acting was teaching beginner ballroom at Arthur Murray. So I knew how to teach a ballroom program, a beginning ballroom program backwards and forwards. And so I came up with the idea to teach wedding couples their first dance for their wedding. And that's where Waltz Through Life initially came from. And then when the recession happened, the 2007 housing crisis, and, a lot of businesses were affected. Definitely a business like the wedding industry just kind of collapsed. And so people weren't wanting to spend money on first dances anymore. And I was like, I don't know where to take my dancing. And then I just had the idea to go into assisted livings. And so Waltz Through Life still felt like a relevant name of my business. So I kept it, and I just transitioned into that world.
That's amazing. Wait, so you didn't have any family or loved ones in an assisted living or long-term care? Nothing.
No, but I grew up. My grandmother worked in an assisted, or she worked in a lot of group homes when I was a kid, and she would pick me up in a bus on Saturday mornings and take me to all these places. And so she worked at, I guess, the equivalent of assisted living. It didn't, in my memory, but I was very young. They didn't look like the places that I work now, because now it looks more like a kind of hotel, or like a Marriott residency.
Right.
Yeah. So I had worked with seniors that way, but no, otherwise it just kind of came to me. I was like, all right, let's try that. And
that's so interesting, because not many people would default to that, to go, hey, I'm going to go teach seniors how to dance. It's so incredible.
Well, you know what? I think I will say that. So you come from hip hop, and my ballroom is my only background, and social ballroom specifically. So I didn't, what you see on Dancing with the Stars, that's, international ballroom, and that's competition style. Social dancing in general, and I do all kinds of social dance, swing, salsa, anything that tango, anything that's social, which is just having fun, which you guys said, even if you don't know how to dance or you're not good at it, and that's the kind of people that social dancing attracts. You can get very good, the more you put into it. But I started doing that when I was like 17, and I was very young in the social ballroom world. So I was always like the youngest person. And I just always got along with people older than me. I just had an affinity to them, and I've always loved, I always felt like I was born in the wrong time. So it was like I walked into a ballroom at 17, and I thought, oh, I found my people.
Yeah, that's so great. I was watching your video on your website of you dancing with the chair dancing.
Yeah.
And I so relate to that, because I can't, I did so much chair dancing when I would go visit my mom, because they'd have like a musical guest there, entertaining, and I'd just come out and start dancing with the people in chairs, and they loved it so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
My first experience teaching a chair dance class, I was totally by accident. So I started, when I was promoting Waltz Through Life for seniors and assisted livings, I started promoting socials, like dance socials. So I would get hired for Christmas parties, and so it was like a slow build, and I started developing relationships with different chains. And then once you get in one, then they'll hire you at another. And then someone had said, like, oh, this would be a great class. It was actually Belmont Burbank. Belmont Village in Burbank. And so when I walked in to do the class, as opposed to a social where I'm like a host, a dance hostess, like, hello, everybody. And, I bring the fun and the music, and I go around and dance with people, but also, sit in my chair a little and get just what you were doing with your mom, and facilitating the dancing, getting it going. And so when I got asked to do a class, I walked in and everybody was in wheelchairs. And I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. So I just improvised. I come from an improv background as well, a comedy improv background, which has been very helpful working.
Yes, it is. Me too.
It's good to have a sense of humor, to think on the fly, and just to be very in the moment, especially with people with advanced memory loss, and cognitive, decline. Yeah. So I walked in and everybody's in a wheelchair, and I thought, all right, well, I'll join them. So I just sat in a chair and I put my playlist on, and I just took, a step or two from each dance, like a cha-cha, and I did the cha-cha step, and I came up with some arm movements. And that was the birth of my ballroom inspired chair dance class. And so, and that was with Circle of Friends, which is a group with early onset dementia at the Belmont Village, which is a great thing because it's a way to stay integrated in the community. And I did that for years, and then I just started doing chair dance class everywhere. And then when I got asked to go into the memory care units to do it, it became my favorite thing, and it became its own thing. So it was like a mix of chair dance and one-on-one dancing and music therapy, sing-alongs. It was just always whatever it became in that moment. Right. Anything you could plan. It was just, and still to this day, it's my favorite work that I do is working with people with advanced dementia.
Interesting. I love it because they would benefit so much from it, right? Because sometimes when I would walk into the memory unit, and like I said, sometimes it's the land of the zombies, and people are, very much unengaged. And then when you engage them and you have patience, then especially with music, especially with movement, even if it's just a little bit of hand movement, because everything. Yeah,
yes, exactly. I mean, that's a lot of what, and I don't have a master's. I'm not a dance therapist by, it's all on the job training. Like I did this,
right.
I've done it for over 15 years, probably 17. And, you just learn as you go. And, some people have a knack for it. I did listen to your episode with the woman that it has, it's called Enough, the show Enough. I wrote it down because I want to see it.
What was it?
She's the dancer you had on. I think it was in 2020, so it was a long time ago at this point.
Oh, one of the original shows, yeah.
Okay.
Was it one of the original? Yeah, she was fantastic, and I was like, oh, she gets it. Like she, I think some people just kind of have a knack for it, and a lot of it is touch therapy too. Like you're, especially coming from a ballroom world. I mean, I'm used to holding people when I dance or being held. And so it's about holding people to music too. And it's they're between what the music is doing to their brain and lighting it up. And then you've got, the limbic system working, and it's like, you're motivated to snap or clap. And so I'm just doing really simple things with them. And it's like, you see people, like you said, people that look like zombies, really. I mean, and suddenly they're alive and they light up, and it's magic. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so powerful. It's like, it's my experience. And it's one of the things that I hope to, because I've been doing this so long, and I fell into this totally by accident. I never thought I'd be doing this work, but if I can bring a message to it in some way, it's that I have been more moved by people at the end of their life with dementia than anybody in my life. It's been very spiritual for me to see that 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 the spirit is still there and still alive, and sometimes the way you experience that with people who don't have all the details that we have about who we are, it's like the bio that defines
all the noise,
yeah. And it's the things that we are driven by and we can't help it. It's the things that I will get me down the most, that, I should, on my bio, I should have had this. I didn't have kids. I didn't, and all this. And it's like, you see, then I'm with these people dancing and it's just pure light. And I'm like, oh, none of that matters. And like, I know. And I follow a lot of things on Instagram and about dementia and Alzheimer's, and it's so often most of it is very sad, and I'm like, man, you got to come with me, like you got to come dance. They're my favorite dance partners. Like it's, right. It's life. It's about life.
I'm with you 100%. I say that all the time. Like it was so much fun for me to go and really experience that. Like it's the epitome of Zen, right? So that you are,
yes, absolutely,
you are in the moment, and like, and it really takes on just the basics of life. Like, it's about respect. So like, if I'm going to go touch someone, I'm going to go, hi, do you want to dance with me? I want to dance with you.
Asking.
And they're going to say
absolutely.
no or yes, right? And then they're going to, and if they don't like it, they're going to tell you they don't like it. If they love it, they're going to tell you, I love this and I love you. Let's have sex.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh my God. I love when I get heckled. I'll have over the years. I mean, there's some of my funniest stories. I'm like, oh, this one does not like me. And it's, But it's the honesty is
refreshing.
It's so refreshing.
It's so refreshing. It's like babies and people with dementia. There's no BS.
And animals,
There's
right?
No BS, right? It's like my mom would look at somebody that my mom, full of decorum, but as her disease progressed, she'd go. Somebody would walk by and my mom would go, wow, she's got a big behind on her.
Oh,
I go, Mom, she can hear you. She goes, I'm just saying, it's the truth. And
oh yeah. Yeah, I've had all kinds of things said, and I'm like delighted by it. And I'm just like, I love it. I'm like, you don't have to like me. It's fine. You know what I mean? And you get your, it's definitely, you have to be somebody good with boundaries and being able to read people's energy. And it's like, I'll be approaching someone and I'm like, not today.
Exactly.
You just feel it. You're like, nope, not today. We'll pass.
But see, what you're doing is really awesome because it's really demonstrating the fact that because someone loses, a skill of articulating, right? So that ability to articulate words, which, we learn how to articulate, and then often we lose how to articulate, right? So, but that doesn't stop us from communicating with animals who don't articulate, right? Or children who don't articulate yet. And then why does it stop us from communicating with people who are elderly that can't articulate?
Right.
Because they're still there. So you can get you can get communication in different ways, and
it's just different. It's just different. And it's the same as we're learning more about neurodivergency and how, I have ADHD. So, I have always felt since I was a kid, a little bit of a weirdo. Like people don't, or it was always funny. So I was able to like get away with a lot of my quirkiness that could, because I had maybe a different communication style, and so, and we're starting to respect that more, with people that are on the spectrum, and realizing that, it's more people out there that we're communicating with on a daily basis than we even realize, right?
Well, it's called a spectrum. We're all on it.
All
it's
of
a
us,
spectrum.
yes.
It wouldn't be a spectrum if we weren't all on it somewhere, right?
That's it.
So we're all
That's
on
it.
it. Yeah.
So why do we have to be boxed into this? So it's like when I walked into the ballroom at 17 and said, "Oh, I found my people." When I walked into the, memory care dementia unit, I was like, "Oh, there's my people." I'm like, I don't know. I felt really connected, and
well,
like the words didn't. Yeah. Well, they are to me, believe it or not.
I know, but because you understood it innately, and maybe because you are a weirdo, like you said, like I'm a weirdo too. I think I think that it gives you that superpower, that openness to be able to be open to not take quirks, if that's what the word is, as a negative, as opposed to being interesting and compelling.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. I never leave one of these places without feeling, first of all, high, which is what you were saying about dancing, right? Like there's this energy that I get that's unlike anything else, specifically with people that have the advanced dementia. And that's where there's like this beauty that's very poetic that, that they've lost all the things that humans, we've all decided are important, like the details of our past and where we're going in the future.
The minutia, yeah.
Yeah, and
there's no memory, there's no past or forward. It's just now.
Yeah.
It's now.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to say like, oh wow, they're like, they're living their best life, but I do think that if we gave people more, the more research that's done and the more, the more dancing, just dancing and music, when I turn that music on, and I'll see people that are in the back of the room, and because you've been in these places, mm-hmm. who are not engaged and depressed, of course. I mean, there's no windows in these places. They have to be locked down. There's, so you're not getting all this natural light. It can be depressing, and yet this music goes on, and it's like their eyes just shift, and suddenly. Mm-hmm. The lights go on, and there's a whole world, and it's so I think the more, I guess it's really just about, I'm so glad with all this research about music and the brain that just more and more stuff is coming out all the time, and so people hopefully don't have to suffer as much.
Right.
So
I wondered
when you. Go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, just to go back to the point that you said about them living their best life. Maybe they are living their best life. Maybe they are, because once my mom crossed over the bridge, where she was fighting Alzheimer's, and she just accepted it and surrendered. She was a happy chap. I'm not saying everyone is.
I agree, Susie.
But I mean, sometimes it can be liberating to go, I'm in my last chapter, whatever it is, and I am, like when I would say to my mom, like I said earlier, how are you today, Mommy? I am great. I'm alive. The alternative sucks. What's to eat? Right? I mean, everything is very down to basics.
Simple, yeah. Yes.
We'll be right back.
I'm Peter, owner of Peter San Photography, and I want to talk to you about something important, preserving memories. Time moves quickly, and before we know it, those we love may no longer be with us. For the last few years, I've taken complimentary professional headshots of seniors in a local retirement home, helping families capture the essence and personality of their loved ones through beautiful photos. I've seen firsthand how meaningful these images can be. When I photographed my own parents, I realized how powerful it is to have these lasting memories, photos that capture smiles, stories, and the unique spirit of the people we care about most. If your parents or loved ones are still with you, don't wait. These images can bring comfort and joy for years to come, whether it's for remembering silly moments or honoring family history. My message is simple. Get photos of your loved ones while you can. Hire a local photographer, use your camera, cell phone, whatever it takes. Just do it now. For more information, visit peterisfanphotography.com.
There is something about dancing and the music that is so pure, and like they're able to completely immerse themselves in a way that even somebody like me who loves music and dance, like your mind's still always in the world in different places. And there's this focus that I've never seen before on just the music. And it's like, whoa, like it's just really magical.
But don't you think for me, when I'm dancing, and I said this earlier, that for me, it's like my meditation, because I'm really terrible at meditating. It's very difficult for me because I also have a lot of ADD, and I'm just like, I will end up, like, I took Dawn to a yoga class once where it was meditation / yoga at this really posh place here in LA. And we literally got kicked out because we were like, no, because I could not hold it together and be so serious with the breathing, and then like the and the yelling and like all those things that you do.
Oh no,
yeah,
I can't. No,
I can't.
I wouldn't be able to do it either. No. Dancing is the closest thing to meditating.
Because you can't think of anything else, right?
No.
When you're dancing,
because you're just focused on the music. Yeah.
If you think of something else, you're going to miss a step. You just will.
Yeah.
So, even if you're really trained at it, like if you really know a routine, if you go, hey, did I pick up something? You're going to go, wait, what step was I on? You can't do that.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah. And with social dancing, lead and follow, like you're in sync with another person. If you start focusing on anything else, like as a follower, then you're going to be, you're lost.
Misstep.
Yeah, you're gonna get stepped on, or yeah.
Exactly. So I think for that reason, it is very, I think all of us become focused and engaged, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I've also told this story where there was a woman at my mom's place that was assisted living, where she had a personal caregiver that was with her every day. Ruth was her name, and she was very elegant woman, but she didn't talk at all, ever. And but every time my daughters and I, or Dawn, or whoever was with us, we'd always sing with my mom. We'd be at the table, and people would come around, and we were singing Yesterday from the Beatles, doing our harmony, being the Judds, and she starts singing along. And I mean, like full on singing. And it turned out she was a dancer, a professional dancer. And her caregiver goes, Ruth, you're singing. She goes, yeah? As if there was no big deal about it. She was just right there with us. And that was the first time I saw, because my mom was a singer, so I didn't know that it really was that magical with everybody. I thought that was my secret key with my mom. But no, it's everybody.
Yeah, and when you have somebody, like my job is to come in and not have any inhibition, I have to be completely, uninhibited. And so they see me being like, and it gives people the freedom and the license, like, oh, okay, I can do that too, and then they get into it, but so that's part of, what I'm good at is just getting people to get over themselves and like, let's just do this.
Yes,
so when you come in with all your wonderfulness and your music and your dance and you light up the room and everyone's joyous, and then you leave. Mm-hmm. Do you leave them with either the facility, the CNAs, anyone, what do you know stories of them doing anything in the world of the dance that you just showed them, or anything once you leave, when you're gone? Or is it just for the time? And if not, how can we make this part of their lives when the one person, are not there?
That's a great question. And no, when I get hired with a new activity director, and a lot of times people have big ideas about what you're going to be able to do with people. Like, oh, would it be great if it culminated in this performance? And that was something recently that happened to me. And I just go along. It's like, yes, and like, okay, sure, we'll do that. Yes, yes, but like, I know that they will get, if they drop in, and they'll get in time, that's not where people are at, so like in terms of performance, that's an idea that I'd love to be able to try to do with people. But that being said, I hope that I always say keep dancing, until next time, until I come again, keep dancing, and it's something that I used to say to people before class, in like my chair dance classes, who has music in their room? You would be surprised how many people did not have CD players. And I say CD players because, that is what a lot of these people would have had pre-pandemic. So when I've been doing this work a long time. I did actually a drive for Christmas once where I had people donating CD players and CDs, because in some of the lower income places, people really didn't have anything. And I'm like, you need to be listening to music. Like this fights depression. This fights, it's just so good for people. So I wish that I had more of a dialogue with the places that I work, but I guess I'm lucky that they hire me and I get to come in and do my thing. But it does feel like when you leave, you're like, oh, they were just so happy. They had these amazing moments, and I want them to have more of them, not just 1 hour a week, or even sometimes I'm only there once a month, and that's not enough. This needs to be,
feel like it should
in
be
people's
every
lives
day.
all the time, right? Right.
I feel like it should be every day because, for me, if you said you want to go to a bodyworks class or a dance class, I'm going to choose dance. And you're going to get an incredible workout. You're going to, there's only good that comes from that, right? So,
yeah.
And doing that every day would be so healthy and helpful in so many ways, psychologically and physically, for the residents.
Absolutely.
But and it's amazing because they have their activities directors and activities, and and to be able to incorporate something. This is you do it in a wonderful way, but it's not that complicated to put on some music and say move, or just move. You don't have to have choreography or anything.
No,
as opposed to sitting down in front of a monitor and showing an old movie. Put music on there and let them move around. It doesn't seem that complicated or that difficult as one of the activities they do.
I have seen in memory care sometimes. I don't know if it was a thing where I would come, I'd put my music on, and I would feel bad turning it off when it was time to leave. So I did start to see aids. I probably mentioned it, to a few different people, but like, why don't you keep the music playing? So then they would have their own music that would come on when I left, because I didn't want there to just be, back to, the silence, at least until, let's say, they go to dinner. You know what I mean? Like, I have thought of putting it in writing, in a living will, to if anything happens to me that is any kind of cognitive thing, whether I have an accident or I end up with dementia, please make sure good music is playing most of the time. Maybe not all the time, give me a break, but because I just know that it's the benefits of it.
Right. Yeah, no, I hear you. I had a note up in my mom's room for that, the CNAs to please leave the music on, because my mom was so, that was her soul, was music.
Yes.
Yeah, and I knew that, and as you start losing, more and more from this disease, that becomes, everything. It is. It
Hey,
is
you know
one
what?
thing. Yeah.
I would say, I'm somebody, I have a history of depression. I'm not ashamed of that, and in some of my darkest times with it, when you're trying to find, hope, and music for me has always been like in the times when I really felt like I don't know, I don't have a lot of purpose, or I don't have a lot of, something to get up for. And, and this is, over the years, and, we have highs and lows, rises and falls, which is why I love
Entrances and
Waltz Through Life,
exits.
the name of
Entrances
my
and
company.
exits.
Yeah. And so, but I will listen to a piece of music and go, I'm glad I'm alive for this. Just this piece of music, I got to hear it. And I get to hear it as many times as I want to play it in this lifetime, and just music is really important to me. And I think that some people don't even realize how important it is until, they do get older. Yeah. And other things are gone now. And then you put a piece of music on and it's like, you just see this joy take over them. And
It's brainstem. It's eating is one of those joys that we don't lose until, we're on death's bed, doorway, really. And then, and music, is forever. You'll never not.
Music is the last sensory that the brain, it's the last to go. So, if you lose your language, or, all of it, you still can enjoy music. And it lights up more regions of the brain than any other sensory. So they're doing all kinds of studies now, like learning that, studying that how a specific kind of music could actually be the right medicine for this particular disease, like MS or Parkinson's.
Of course, yeah.
And then of course there's just music that was the other reason that I think I always fit into this world, because being like an old soul, I love all kinds of music, but I definitely have always had a lot of knowledge about, older music, like big band music, and being from the ballroom world too. So I kind of know the hits that, like that get them going and that light them up. And they know, and people I have seen who absolutely, like, they don't talk anymore. They don't have language anymore. But what music does is it brings that back for them. They'll know every word to a song.
Yep.
And I'm sure you've seen this, Susie. Yeah. Yep. And with your mom. And then, they'll have little moments where they speak and say something really profound. And I'm like, wow. It was like the music, was the medicine that,
it's the
and
key
they get a hit of it.
It's the key that opens the door. That's what I always said with my mom. If I was patient enough and sat there long enough and sang my heart out, because I would go and do my dog and pony show, always with my mom as she was declining, and it always woke her up, and I tell this story all the time, but 3 months before she died, and she hadn't talked, for months, and she just stopped in the middle of me doing my show. And her just leaned forward and said, "I love you," just clear as day, as she always ever did.
Isn't it? Yeah, I actually was looking at your Instagram. I was stalking you last night, knowing I was going to meet you today, and I think maybe this was it. You had posted a photo of your mom, and I think it was towards the end of her life, and you said something really magical had happened that day. And I don't even know if you shared the details, but I knew. I was like, oh yeah, that's, I haven't had a loved one, but I sort of love that we're anonymous in a way to each other, and they're giving me hits of like God hits, not to talk about God, but you know what I mean? These like just like, oh, thank you. That was better than going to church. Like,
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
does. So I tell people that all the time, is that it's so satisfying. It fills your soul. And, and it's why I'm on a mission to make a change in the way we collectively think about our elder population, because we don't understand. And I'm not faulting people, but we don't understand, and we just devalue them, and we abandon them,
which is devaluing yourself, because
exactly.
this is the last marginalized group that we, I say that it seems to be. I'm like, okay, aging will be next, but we're all going there. And so, when doing this work for as long as I have, and I work with, I've over the years worked with kids too, and they're magical too. But I'm like, I don't want to tell my friends with kids this, but I'm like, I look at little kids and I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna get old one day. Like I'm thinking.
I think that all the time. I think that all the time.
It's like I didn't have babies of my own, but I dance with, I dance all these people. They're just babies that got old,
Exactly.
And
that's how I think it. I see it. I see that exact same thing. I mean, my mom became my daughter in a way, even though she wasn't. And I loved her so much towards the end, even more. And I always loved her. But there was something. Oh, what happened? Oh,
What?
Everything went white for a second.
Oh, no.
But we're still
not over
recording,
here.
Maybe
right?
that,
Mom? Is that you?
maybe that was your mom saying hi.
That's bizarre. Okay. Anyway, yeah, but I felt this thing, like, as much as I loved my mom, but I suddenly felt, I saw her as who she was as a little girl, and this loving, and because her nickname was Lovey, and all of her family from the East Coast would call her Lovey through my whole life, and I didn't know why. And then I realized that's why, because that's who she is. She's Lovey.
Just a love bug.
She was a love bug, and I had this feeling like I do with my own daughters. Like, I loved her, and when I see her face from that time period, those last 6 months, is like my own little girl that she was precious to me at that point.
Yeah, we all walk around with the same vulnerability, no matter, where we are, the people at the top, the people here, everybody. And it's like, and this is the one thing, if you're lucky enough, to live a long life, we're all headed there, the same place. And it doesn't make any sense anymore, especially because we're all living longer, our life we get to have more meaning when we extend a person's potential by saying life isn't over at this age or that age. And, I heard you say this on one of the podcasts. Jenny, with Jenny's podcast. She's amazing, right?
I love her. Love a Jenny.
And just saying that it has to be a movement. And it's like, I'm down. I'm on board for that movement, because we have to do it, right?
We have to.
We can't just, it's like, there's the life events, right? Like, you go on Facebook and it's like the life events. Like, I got married, I had a baby, I moved to this city, I got this job. Right. And then, and suddenly those life events stop for people, but they don't have to. It's sort of this creation.
We create, because we had a structure that worked, it worked economically, right? So 65 a year.
Well, yeah, it's about economics.
It's about economics. So it works, and so suddenly everybody is retiring at 65, and it's sort of like built in, because you get your social security at 65, and you sort of you aged out of a lot of careers that you were in for no reason. For no good reason. You just aged out because that was a weird construct that happened. And I'm here to tell you that there's, I think when you hit 65, it's a whole new chapter. And I don't think, why would you stop working? To me, I don't understand it, because the whole life is based on purpose. And the minute you lose your purpose is the minute you have, failure to thrive. Because what is your point of what is getting you up every day?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Boomers my mother's a boomer. They have more money in this country right now than anybody does. So, I feel like in some ways you're starting to see this very slow shift, like just even having like The Bachelorette, The Bachelor, because, they know that my mom's going to watch that, and it's like, there are these shifts, but it does need to be a movement. And I guess it starts with, podcasts like this and your documentaries and you just gotta, and living boldly and saying, I'm aging and I'm getting, I know that I feel, oh my God, I had more opportunities in my 20s. And yet I'm like, in every way, like romantically in my career, and I'm like, what a shame. I am 100 times more qualified in every way now. I just have to create those opportunities for myself, and don't, just keep putting yourself out there. Don't go away. You can't go away.
I'm doing this talk show that's like, it was a pilot that I just did. And it's about, aging, in a way that's, dynamic, as opposed to, the opposite. And some of the panel were talking about, women who you become invisible. And I think, do you, or is it because you decide that, the bar that was your bar at 20 can't be the same bar, and the bar that we are, how we view ourselves. If we go, okay, I'm 50, and I look in the mirror and I go, I'm a hot 50-year-old, okay? Why? But instead of comparing yourself to someone who's 20, that's, you don't want to date a 20-year-old guy anyway, right? So
No. Yeah.
So if you can, I think we make ourselves disappear is what I'm saying.
I agree 100%.
We're looking for different kind of feedback it's not the same feedback we're going to get now, because it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Yeah. It should be way more mature than it was when we were 20. Than like, hey, you look hot, bitch. That's not what we're about anymore.
Right. Right. Oh, and when I said, I should say, because I feel empowered by this too. Like, even though I had more opportunities, I was saying, romantically, career-wise in my 20s, I 100% feel sexier now than I've ever felt in my life. So it's like, because of who I am, because, and I do think absolutely, when I see certain friends who, we're all the same age, I'm 49, and it's like, it's almost like they're just waiting to vanish. Because 12 o'clock's going to strike and they're going to turn into a pumpkin. And it's like, I'm not. I'm doing everything, I'm not turning into a pumpkin.
No, and I think we need to propagate that conversation, because it makes much more sense than to say, okay, because it's such an old construct anyway. And if you look, I used to be married to someone who was British, and my ex's brother was in his 20s, was married to a woman who was 47, and there is women who are older, for the most part in Europe, are much more respected and coveted than the younger women. So we need to flip that a little bit, because younger women are looked at, they're babies, and grown women are much more attractive. There's a lot to them. What say you, Don?
Well, I say it's not letting. Well, I know nothing about this older thing. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but. I think it's not
so
letting
smart,
other people
right?
not letting other people define you. Do not let. That's the thing. We let society define us. We let other people define us, as opposed to to setting your own bar. It's not about it's not about lowering your bar. It's about just changing where that bar sits.
Changing your bar, yeah.
Yeah. It's not about because we are so reliant on what society feels about us and what what our friends or somebody who's 18 years old thinks about us. It doesn't matter. You have to define yourself, and that's hard. It's hard because you have all these external elements that are coming in every day that you hear and see on social media, on television, and movies. You see, but you have to know who you are, and not be so hard on yourself. That's the thing. We are so hard on ourselves because of those external. We have to do. And it's finding and saying and adapting and saying, okay, I can't do this anymore, but look at this because I have all this life experience. Look what I can do now that I couldn't do then, and finding those things.
But isn't it about being? Oh, go on, Kristina.
No, I was going to say another thing from I think it was Jenny's episode about integrating young and old, or younger and older together.
Yeah.
Because, yes, intergenerational. That word, I want to, that alone would change so much because. You're seeing, little people learning from people who've been on the planet longer, and older people getting life from. It's just it's the way it's supposed to be. It's not.
It's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And can I just
think
say
that
this?
More of that. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, we are hard on ourselves. My mother, who was 5 foot tall and, always a little bit zoftic, as they say. And my mom had more game than I have ever had in my entire life with men, and till the day she died. Literally.
Listen.
Till the day she died.
Yeah.
I could tell you stories, and
people are partying at these places.
My mom, but mom was magnetic, and why was she magnetic? Because she just had confidence in herself, as who she was, and she was interested in other people, and she was very communicative. And if she liked you, she'd be like, "Wow, you're handsome." and it's very disarming, right? And she would tell another woman that, she would go, "Wow, are you gorgeous?" And my mom, and when I was struggling turning 30, I remember it's my mother was like, "Are you nuts? Are you nuts?" She goes, "What is wrong with you?"
I know. I want to kick my younger self a million times for thinking
But if you ever want to feel, and Susie says this all the time, if you ever want to feel really great about yourself and feel young, go visit a senior living facility.
Oh, are you kidding me? I can roll out of bed and put some lipstick on, and everyone's like, "You're gorgeous, honey," and I'm like, "Thank you."
They're like, I would go and visit my mom. They go, "Oh, is that your grandmother?" And I go, "No, it's my mom." "What? How old are you?" And I go, "How old do you think?" 23. I go, 24.
Right,
How did you guess?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love when they'll say, "Are you married?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm divorced." "Do you have kids?" "No." "Oh, you have plenty of time." And I'm thinking right, how old do you think I am? Well, however it is, please, they think you're so much younger than you are.
Yeah, yeah. It's a win-win. It's a win-win, y'all. And actually, if you take a look at yourself, because how many times do we look back at ourselves when we were younger and go, "Oh, I was so hard on myself." So why not just look? Yeah. So look at yourself the way those people look at you.
That's it. And you know what? Someone said this to me. I don't remember who, but they said, "Today is the youngest you're ever going to be."
That's right.
It's the oldest I've ever been. It's like, oh yeah, I'm never going to be this young. So what am I complaining about? I better just enjoy it. Right.
And it'll be that way tomorrow. You'll be the youngest you'll ever be.
And that's a better way of looking at it, than always thinking, "Oh, I'm just aging."
Yes, exactly.
But you're still the youngest you'll ever be today. All of us, right? Let's get into our Charlie's Angel pose.
Charlie's Angels. And I'm going to say with that, it's all about music. It's all about dance. It's all about Kristina Hayes. Well, this was a great conversation. We enjoyed talking to you so much, and we love you. And that's why
I
we're
love
here.
you guys. This is amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Don, bring us on
Absolutely.
home.
It's all about love. It's a big love fest here, and there's one reason for that, and that's because love is powerful, love is contagious, and love conquers alls. We thank everyone for watching, listening today. If you like what you saw, or even if you just were okay with it, why don't you subscribe and share and all those good things? We'll have all of Kristina's information in the show notes, and we just got to say to everyone,
to dance.
keep on dancing. Keep
on
on
dancing.
dancing.
Right. In the meantime, keep dancing.
Dancing.
Take care, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm Angela Fairhurst, founder of Jerry Gadgets, a revolutionary solution for dementia care. Inspired by my personal journey caring for my mother with dementia, I developed patented sensory tools that engage loved ones, reduce anxiety, and create joyful moments without medication, providing much-needed relief for caregivers. Jerry Gadgets currently come in 3 silicone buckets with activities like flower arranging, shape sorting, and tactile fidgets, with more in development. Each Jerry Gadget is designed to stimulate the senses, fostering connection and communication, even at advanced stages of cognitive decline. Non-toxic, built to last, and dishwasher safe, Jerry Gadgets transform caregiving by promoting engagement, improving quality of life, and offering caregivers a respite from constant supervision. Discover how our innovative products can bring joy and meaningful interaction to your loved ones with dementia while easing the caregiver's burden. Visit jerrygadgets.com to learn more and start making every moment count.
For a limited time, you can get 20% off your next order of Jerry Gadgets by going to www.ssww.com, Jerry Gadgets for Dementia.